What's up YouTube, Webberz05 here coming at you today with Q&A number 47. So once again guys, today's Q&A questions are brought to you by Dark Magician 84 for all your Yu-Gi tuber needs. Now without further ado guys, I'll get into the questions. This week's theme is his top 10 favourite machine monsters. Let's get into it. 1. Thoughts on Rottweiler. I do quite like Rottweiler in the hero archetype. I think it's just a nice bit of addition for recovery to get back an elemental hero and a polymerization card, so that's pretty useful, kind of like similar to fusion recovery but not limited to something that's been used as a fusion material, so pretty decent. I think it could be nice if they added in maybe some support just to throw in a way to easily use Rottweiler. Might make it a bit better, but who knows, maybe they'll do a retrain of it at some point. Could be interesting. But overall, I think it's a nice nostalgic card from the anime. 2. Thoughts on Card Trooper. Card Trooper I think is quite versatile in how it's used, because you could just mill up to 3 cards to give it 500 attack for each, which will pump it to 90, which gives you a decent beat for a turn, and then if it dies in battle you get to draw a card, but with its 400 stats you're going to take a bit of damage, but sometimes it's worth it. And also depending on the synergy with the deck, you can just essentially just use it to load up your graveyard. Frankly, thinking about it, it's something I could potentially think about using in my Highlanders Cyberdark deck, which has essentially kind of just become a graveyard abuse deck, so could work for that. It's something for me to think about. I should consider trying to pick one up. I'll think about that. 3. Thoughts on Speedroid Menko. Menko's just pretty decent as a way of blocking off the battle phase, which is pretty good. You can attack directly, special summon it and put everything in defense. Pretty decent. They're all for a way of blocking battle, that's pretty decent, because it's also a +1 because you're keeping the monster on the field as opposed to other methods which you have to get rid of it to do so. So pretty decent. So yeah, somewhat decent. Kind of build dependent, I suppose. 4. Thoughts on Swift Scarecrow. I've certainly enjoyed a moment with Swift Scarecrow when I was playing an Exodia deck in the video games. Just a great way to keep yourself alive. If you take a direct attack, discard, end the battle phase. Job done. Easy enough. I'm sure back in the day lots of people have played that card just as a way to save themselves in battle. So yeah, again, nice nostalgic card, old school card, that's always pretty good. 5. Thoughts on Robotic Knight. A very random one, I know, but before Dark Magician, this was my favourite card and one of the best monsters in my random deck when I started playing. That's completely fair enough, my friend. We've all had moments like that when we started out in the game of playing a deck of just random cards. But yeah, Robotic Knight, he's alright. I think I recall using him in the video games in the early stages of my building with random decks. Because the stats, they're not terrible. I mean, they're not great, but they're not terrible. For a level 4 monster at the time, it was pretty decent. Both decent for attacking and defending as well, so that was pretty good of why I liked using it. But yeah, overall, I respect those reasons as well. Everyone had those random monsters that you really liked back at the time. Just trying to think, what were probably some of my favourite monsters? I think probably one of my favourite random monsters that I was using back when I started out in the game was probably Alien Shock Trooper, just because it's a it was a level 4 with 1900 points, which was which for a level 4 was back in the day, pretty damn good. Trying to think of some other random stuff I liked using. I feel like my go-to defensive card was Renge, Gatekeeper of Dark World, because it's 2100, which as a defense, pretty decent way to keep yourself alive for back in the day. I feel like I should try something like that again at some point. Not so much a random all-stars deck, more just a deck of random cards, because pretty much what everyone kind of did when they started out in the game, they just built a deck of cards, stuff that they liked, so something for me to think about. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. And then I maybe would also appreciate if you were to do the same thing, and then we could just have a proper random outmatch. 6. Thoughts on Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon, overall very good card. Actually got coined coined into being like a Yu-Gi-Oh term of monster with a Cyber Dragon effect. Anything that can just be summoned for free because you control their monsters. So overall, that in itself, great inherent ability to have. And as for the card itself, it's pretty decent. It's got a very strong archetype. I did quite like when they merged the Cyber Dragon with Cyber Dark archetypes. That made it pretty interesting. Pretty much ever since Cyber Dragon's been released, it's continued to get waves of support that's made it better. Overall, I think it's just a really great machine monster and a great machine archetype. 7. Thoughts on Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. I had to do a quick research to remind myself which one Fortress Dragon is. So Fortress Dragon is the one that just basically is like an inherent fusion summon using Cyber Dragon and machines on both player sides of the field. So that's pretty decent. That probably would have been a pretty good tactic for me to have had during like August format when they were everywhere. Because I just go like, cool, special Cyber Dragon, ditch your entire field, Fortress. I mean, people could pretty much still do that now, but right now there's not really any major machine archetypes in the meta. I suppose a close one to consider would be Sky Striker, because all the extract monsters are machines, so that's something to think about there. But I'm not sure. Hard to say. But overall, the concept of Fortress Dragon is pretty decent. Probably, if it was to be like meta relevant in a Cyber Dragon deck, you'd probably just wait. Bit difficult to pull off in a Cyber Dragon deck in the current meta because, as I said, there's not really a huge amount of machine dependent decks right now, but overall it's still a pretty good, decent concept. 8. Thoughts on Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosack? Dracosack was probably one of the most annoying rank 7s in existence at the time of when it was released. The number of times on Dueling Network, back when it was still Dueling Network, yeah, I faced a rank 7 player that was spamming Dracosack, and I got so annoyed because it was such an absolute pain to deal with. Just Dracosack, generate 2 tokens, and then I just can't get... And then I have to waste my time trying to hit into the tokens just so I can do something against the Dracosack, but by that point I've wasted all my resources of being able to get rid of it. So and they're just like, cool, next turn, detach, generate tokens, start again. It's very annoying. But overall, for the design of the card, it is pretty decent, I will admit. 9. Thoughts on Power Tool Dragon? Power Tool Dragon, I think, is I quite like it for its design. It's quite interesting. It also supporting equip spells is also pretty decent. So its own effect, like, wrote for a random equip spell based on 3 revealed ones. But from what I recall with the effect, you don't have to be 3 different ones, so you could reveal 3 of the same just to add whatever you want. To add one specific card, or you could naturally mix things up. Overall, I think it's pretty decent. I've been rewatching a lot of 5Ds recently, so seeing Leo using it is pretty fun as well, so. Shame it's not very good in turbo dueling because you can't have equip spells in turbo dueling, which is kind of annoying. But oh well. And question 10. Thoughts on my favourite machine monster of all time? Jinzo. I'm not gonna lie, like most people, I am a big fan of Jinzo. Jinzo is an absolute huge boost for whenever I'm playing GOAT format. Basically, you just go... Because essentially, I think that was most players win con. You summon Jinzo and then you're in a very good controlling position. I also quite like with my specific Jinzo, because mine's a reverse secret from its original printing, so really quite happy with that. I should probably put that in my binder at some point, considering I'm not actually using my GOAT deck very much. GOAT is very nice as a pass format, but it's kind of... Everyone's kind of doing the same thing in GOAT, which makes it less interesting. I have been thinking about developing a new pass format deck. I know a lot of people were into Hat, and I know Spellbook was around in Hat. I've been testing around with Spellbook on Master Duel as like a kind of semi-budget version of Spellbooks, and I'm quite enjoying it. I might consider... So yeah, I'm very much tempted to build a pass format Hat Spellbook deck and see what I can do with that, which would be pretty fun. Oh, sorry, I was talking about Jinzo, wasn't I? But yeah, Jinzo, great card. Some of the new support for it looks pretty decent as well. I haven't really taken a proper look into the deck, but deck with the support, but from what I've seen from some of your videos as well, Jinzo does look pretty decent now. And on that note, guys, that's all the questions I have this week, so thank you very much, Dark Magician 84. Very great questions as always. So now that we've done machines, I'm questioning what's going to be coming up next. I'm going to be questioning what monster type is coming up next. I'm intrigued to find out. And for anyone else who wants to ask me any questions, I do these Q&As every Wednesday afternoon or morning UK time, depending on my schedule. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.